Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! A couple of side notes before I begin. This happened in 2019 and around when the iPhone 11s was released. In my country, I'm not there anymore because of this story. It was infested with robbers and attackers. The only thing valuable enough for people to steal is new phones. That is why I wouldn't recommend going there. On to the story. So when I was abroad for business, it was when the new iPhone 11 was released. Good thing is that it even got released where I was. I bought two phones, one for me and one for my fiancé. Although I hesitated as I knew the current state of my country, anyone would try to get everything for these phones. Fast forward, when I came back a month later, me and my fiancé had been using our new phones for a week. I took her out for a date since we had not done that in a while. And once we ordered, I was taking pictures with my phone. When I was texting my mother, just if you're wondering, my fiancé is a caring and understanding woman, so she isn't the type to hate it when I go on my phone, as she understands if I have an emergency or my family has a problem. Kid walks past me, glancing at me and what I was doing. Cue the entitled mother and kid. The nice kid tells me, "Wow, nice phone." I thank him. The entitled mother looks at my phone with disbelief. She scoffs and says, "That can't be your phone. Who did you steal it from?" "Excuse me? Ma'am, this is my phone. I had just got it on my trip and bought one for my fiancé." "Stop lying. If it's really yours, give it to my child." "Mom, no, this is the third time you're doing this." At this point, the kid looked like he had enough. I also was mad that this woman wanted to take my phone, which I had paid for. It looked as if the mom was going to explode though. "Listen here, you black racial slur." "Oh great, a racist Karen." "If you don't give that phone to my baby, I will have you kicked out of the restaurant, arrested for harassment, and you will rot in jail for eternity." "Listen lady, my answer is still no. Call the manager or the police, I don't care. You asked for this." She then proceeded to call the manager. "Hello ma'am, what seems to be the problem?" "This jerk stole my baby's phone. Call the police and have him arrested." The manager doesn't believe it but still calls the police anyway, because he knows Karen will be Karening soon and they will need the police anyway. A few minutes later, two police officers come in. "Good evening everyone, what seems to be the problem?" "This man stole my baby's phone. Have him arrested." Sir, is this true?" I then said no. I had explained that this woman came up to me and tried to take my phone for her child. Even the kid didn't want it. "Well, we will need the ID and receipt for the phone to confirm it." I took out my wallet and gave him the ID and receipt. He took a bit to look at it and gave it back. "Ma'am, this is a man's phone. We have everything checked out." The mom then snatched the phone and tried to run with it. Good thing her own kid was done with her nonsense and ran after her and tried holding her to stop till the officers also caught up with her and got her handcuffed. She was arrested for attempted theft, and I still have my phone to this day. This happened earlier today. I own a pickup that has dual fuel tanks as well as an additional fuel tank. I use my truck to pull my large RV trailer, and today I was fueling up to prepare for a cross-country trip. I arrived at the gas station. The station has over 15 pumps, and I was on pump number 5. Because I was getting a large amount of gas, I went inside and prepaid for my gas and got a cold bottle of soda as well. I go back out to my truck to pump my gas and notice a woman trying to put the hose from my pump into her car, which was on the other side of the pump. I asked her what she thought she was doing, and her reply was, "Pumping the gas I paid for. But you," meaning me, "parked in front of my pump." I quickly hit the button on the pump requesting assistance and made sure the pump was turned off. This crazy woman started yelling at me to move my truck so she could pump her gas. I explained how I was here first and prepaid my gas and had a receipt to prove it. That was a wrong thing to say. As the volume of this woman began increasing, the store called the local police. After what seemed like an hour, likely only 15 or 20 minutes, The police arrived to sort out the situation. This woman kept insisting that she paid for the gas on pump 5, and before she could get her car to the pump, I had parked in front of it and ran inside to buy a bottle of beer. When I presented the police with a prepaid receipt for close to 140 US gallons, she shouted that I faked the receipt and I was drinking and trying to steal her gas. It took a while, but the police verified by asking the store employees and reviewing several cameras that I was the purchaser of the gas and not her. She continued to accuse me of drinking and driving and demanding that I be arrested for that and trying to steal her gas. When one of the officers asked this woman where she was going to put all the gas in her little car, she replied that she intended to fill up and get her change. The police gave me a quick field sobriety test, which the woman again claimed I was faking. Huh? I was faking being sober? But eventually they had no choice but to arrest the woman for attempted theft over $500. What I prepaid for the gas, making false claims to a police officer, and disturbing the peace. I eventually got my gas, and the store manager brought me out a free drink. I'd like to first point out that even though this happened to me directly, I'm going on what others have told me too, so some of the details may be vague and I apologize for that. A little starting information to help better understand what's going on. I suffer from PTSD from childhood trauma and also seizures. I recently got a service dog that I'm training myself. I have help from trainers too. The laws where I live allow this, and it makes it easier to fine-tune her tasks towards me. My dog can detect when I'm going to have a seizure naturally, and this is important for later. I will also point out before someone flips her lid, no, I am not in the USA, so our laws are different when it comes to service animals. This is also a two-part in one story. First, I will do the cast. Me, the disabled person who looks normal so obviously can be disabled to some people. My fluffy lifeline service dog still in training. The idiot entitled person, the security guard, the male and female paramedics, the kind customer service lady, and the jealous idiot sales rep. This happened the other day and it's a little fuzzy. I went to the local mall. It's a short 5-minute bus ride from my home. I wanted to do some public/distraction training, and the main mall staff loves having my service dog in training there to train. It's also the perfect place to do this, since it has a lot of different shops, different floor textures and people. After some training she was doing great, and I decided I needed food. This was a perfect opportunity to get more training in. I went into a line, got my service dog to do O2 sits and then move while we were in line. Got her standing tuck worked out, ordered my food and waited. I got my oh so good food and an extra patty as a high reward treat. We talked to the table, hands-free leash/heel, and did a long down stay. After I finished and sat watching a movie on my phone, I decided to go back home since my partner would be off work soon. I got up and was doing a little window shopping. I'm distracted easily. I was heading towards the door to the side of the bus stop. While we were walking, my service dog started to alert me and then started body checking my leg until I went into a store. Tell us. I told the sales rep what was happening, and then they blew me off. I walked in, my service dog at a heel, and Tillis came up to me. I want to quickly point out the laws here for service dog or service dog in training is that they are legally allowed into stores, and this is about how the conversation went. The representative tells me that dogs are not allowed in here. It's a service dog. She's still not allowed in here. She's legally allowed. She's alerting me when I'm going to have a seizure. She's still not allowed in here. Out. Oh, I have no energy to fight him. I could feel myself fading. My seizures make me disoriented when they are about to happen. Not really remembering how I got there, I later found out my service dog in training pretty much dragged my zombie self there. I somehow made it to customer service, then I had a full-out seizure. Apparently, as I was informed by the nice customer service lady and the security guard later, the security guard was called by the nice customer service lady, who had me sit in a wheelchair just before I started my episode. When the security guard went and called the EMS, Once I was okay and not looking like I was actively being hit by a taser, mine was quick, short, convulsing, so like I'm being electrocuted. They filled me in. My service dog was doing everything I taught her. I mean everything. Even the stuff male plug guy did once or twice and was just starting to do. She plugged the male security guard and actually, apparently pulled the EMF to me. The male paramedic and the security guard went and spoke/yelled at Telus for denying my service dog, a handler in need and refusing medical help. They legally have to at least call security to help me if they can't/won't, and had them shot down for the rest of the day. A manager has to come in and teach the laws before the mall will let them open again. The paramedic, security guard, mall staff and the customer service lady all said that service dog was one of the best service dogs they had ever met. And that's saying a lot as the one female paramedic apparently has two at home. I informed him she's still in training. She blinked and said, "I thought the in training was only there as sometimes the handler isn't confident or the service dog is having an off day." I then told her my service dog in training age, 9 to 10 months. She was floored, asked if I had a trainer. I said only obedient trainer, and I'm self-training with helpful tips from handlers. Part 2 told to me by the security guard and the paramedics. After everything had happened, the female paramedic and security guard told me there had been an entitled person who came up when I was having my episode. He had started towards my service dog in training and had asked the male paramedic, who was apparently next to the dog, what breed is he, and other types of questions. Now it's very clear what's going on. Someone is having a visible seizure and the paramedics has been called and it's actively going on. And this entitled person went to start pitting my service dog in training. Legally here a service dog is not required to wear a vest or anything marking them as one. I however have a full gear set up for mine, right down to a big do not pit patch in the center of her back. The male paramedic had this conversation as he's told it to me. The male paramedic tells him, "Hey, do not pit the service dog. Her handler doesn't allow it and it's a working dog. Clearly it doesn't matter since she's having a seizure, so it's fine what I pit him since he's clearly not doing anything." "Sir, what? No. It's fine. I'll hold him for her and take him for a walk. She can get him back from me later." The paramedic stands in front of the service and dog in training, a girl who apparently was licking my face doing her job, and helping the female paramedic best her little doggy mind could. The male paramedic asks him, "Do you know this girl?" Yes? No. The girl was alone with her service dog and normally has a tall blonde husband with her. She's very smiley at us every time they come in, so I always remember her, since she's so nice to show us emotions and kindness of a smile. The security guard says, "Leave or I will have you arrested for harassment, attempted theft of a dog, and medical equipment and interfering with medical treatment." He still insists on taking the dog and tries to get away with it, but the people there stop him immediately and get an officer to take care of his case till I became okay and then I can press charges if I wanted to. Which I of course did once I was fine again and realized what happened later on. About 15 years ago, I was an Army ROTC cadet heading through the Basic Officers Leadership course. It was 3 weeks of extended testing on the skills we were supposed to have learned over the last 3 years, mostly about receiving, interpreting, and implementing orders. The largest part of the course was STX, Situational Training Exercises. These were small missions with planks or paintball guns. Only the cadets in leadership positions were evaluated during exercises, and we were given strict and repeated instructions to follow our orders as briefed. If you improvised and completed a mission by going against orders, the leader being evaluated would receive poor marks. This led to some hilariously bad decisions that no one contradicted. The worst being when we were ordered to wear glowing chem lights on our uniforms during a night mission to help us stay together. I'm sure even without any military training, most readers can guess how a shootout goes at night when one side has bright glowing targets attached to their chests. The instructors took a lot of effort to make us think and observe. It wasn't just force on force, we were also taught to deal with civilian checkpoints, work through interpreters, handle embedded media, and a lot of other complex scenarios. Many of our opposing forces were special forces guys taking an opportunity to instruct and possibly torment new officer candidates and make things as close to real life as possible. After 2 weeks of these constant drills, we finally reach our final graduation mission, the Dawn Raid. We will be trucked to a starting location, night march about an hour to get into position, then have a pitched battle in the mock town. There were multiple extra safety briefings because the raid was to start with an explosive breach on the largest building. As we were loading up, we got two final and very important pieces of information. First, this was our graduation mission, and there was a very high probability that there would be VIPs coming to observe. They all had been instructed not to interfere or intrude, but we should be on the lookout anyway. Second, this was a free-fire mission. The town was considered free of civilians, and every military-age male is to be considered hostile. After 3 weeks of bad food, poor sleep, and constant pressure, we were all due for a dose of catharsis. This was our final mission, and we had just been told the gloves were off. And we had strict instructions to follow all orders, especially rules of engagement, to the letter. As my squad got in position for the opening assault, there was a ripple of silent hand signals going up and down the line. Target sighted, hold fire. The morning was just starting to lighten and I could just make out a human silhouette about 50 feet away, leaning up against a dark but definitely civilian model truck. There were 15 of us lined up and primed for violence when on the far side of the town we hear the sharp crack of a door being explosively removed from its frame. This was followed immediately by an impressive stream of expletives from our target as 15 paintball guns opened fire from painfully close range. I can't say just how much paint my squad unleashed in those few seconds, but I put out a full hopper of about 100 rounds. The rest of the mission went smoothly by the book, rushing to good defensive positions and clearing buildings room to room. At the end, a pace commander, a full colonel, came out of his truck sadly pain-free to congratulate us with cigars and some words of wisdom. After his short congratulatory speech, he turned to address a young lieutenant that had come out of the woods covered head to toe in yellow paint and with large bruises on his neck and face and paraded him up and down for not wearing protective equipment. The next day, as we were in the barracks cleaning our field gear for turn-in, the same lieutenant drove up in a truck that had once been a dark green but was now painted yellow on one side. We had shot it up enough that the original paint had been stripped off in places. He had cleaned up, but it would take few weeks for the black eye and other bruises to fade. He stepped out, looked at us with clearly faked confidence, and ordered us to wash his truck. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.